Welcome to today's episode of Decentralized TV here on Brighteon.com. I'm Mike Adams, the founder of Brighteon. And today, of course, I'm joined by my co-host, Todd Pittner, and we've got a very special guest for you with some amazing new technology to share. But welcome, Todd. Great to have you on the show today.
Great to be here, Mike. It's, boy, you and I have been hard at work with our series, our docu-series, so it's good to get back in the saddle and interview some guests. So I'm really excited about Jonathan today.
Me too. So let me just bring in our guest, Jonathan Shamul. And Jonathan is with a company called Aleph Cloud that is decentralized compute infrastructure that's kind of peer-to-peer for GPUs and other types of compute power, so you can engage in computing distribution without relying on AWS or other centralized systems. Do I have that right, Jonathan? And welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me today. And yeah, it's pretty much this, it's a decentralized cloud. So whatever you can do with AWS, you can do it with Aleph Cloud. And the good part of it is that anyone can become a provider on our network. Like if you have servers laying around, you can put them on the network and start earning money with it.
All right, so this is so interesting. So your system, as I understand it, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but it's aleph.cloud, right? ALEPH.cloud. So let's show the website again if we could. But it's a two-way street. So you could be an end user consuming computing resources at probably a much lower price than using something like, IBM or Amazon, or you could be a contributor contributing resources to the cloud that other people are using, correct?
Yep, exactly.
And then how are you paid if you're contributing resources? How do you actually get paid?
So we have two kinds of networks. We have two kinds of nodes on our network. One, which is the core channel nodes, which are the controllers of the network. You could see them as validators in a dedicated proof of stake network. And then we have the computing resource nodes, which are actually doing the job. Those computing resource nodes, they get paid no matter what. If they get validated by a core channel node, they can get paid no matter what we call the minimum wage on the network. So as long as you are live, ready to start accepting workloads, you will get paid. Then we have what we call the pay-as-you-go, which is a payment system where when you come and say, I would like one virtual machine with 2 CPUs, X gigabyte of RAM, X gigabyte of storage, you will start a payment stream on our interface that will go a big part directly to the node provider. And that's where you get paid in addition. So if there is a lot of demand, people will get paid more. And so there will be more nodes on the network, in addition to that minimum wage. And GPUs are also paid with that pay-as-you-go system as well.
Okay, one quick question. I know Todd actually has the best questions, but one that comes to mind I'd love to interject here is, I suppose that if you're a hardware provider into the system, you need to have cheap electricity for this to make economic sense?
Not necessarily, honestly. The good chunk of the price is actually the price of your hardware, because when you run servers, you would like to have a lot of CPUs ready, a lot of RAM ready to run virtual machines, and then electricity is not the biggest part of the cost.
Okay.
Dividing your server price per 24, for example, would get you a certain price per month that you need that you would need to get. And running a server will cost you, even in France, which is pretty expensive here, it will cost you not more than let's say 10 euros per month. So that's not the biggest part of your hardware.
I see. Okay, all right, thanks for that. So Todd, again, you've always got the best questions, so the floor is yours.
I just have a lot more time to prepare, Mike. I'm not, solving all the world's problems like you are.
No, I'm not. I'm just playing with microscopes and stuff, doing mad science. That's pretty much what I do.
Exactly. Well, Jonathan, welcome. And can you tell me really quick the difference between Aleph.cloud and Aleph.im? Because when I was doing my research, I came upon Aleph.im. So I want to make sure I have that right.
Yeah, well, Aleph.im is like the historical name of the project, and we rebranded to like Aleph.cloud very lately. So like that's why you might see a few names. You might also see 26 Cloud, which is a name for our consumer interface that we introduced a year or so ago. But we now merge everything under the Aleph Cloud brand.
Got it. I'm just going to say Aleph. How about that?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, good. Well, Mike and our show is dedicated to breaking the chains of centralized control. And I would love to talk about Aleph and its role in escaping centralized systems. But first, I'm always interested in the inspiration behind the initiatives. What inspired the creation of Aleph, and how does it fundamentally differ from traditional cloud infrastructure, Jonathan?
Well, when I started, it was in 2018. When you wanted to like create, let's say, a very big decentralized application, like let's say you wanted to like do Facebook or Twitter on Web3 as a decentralized application. Back then, there was only Ethereum, basically, more or less. And okay, for the transaction part, it worked. For some of the data, it might have worked. But then whenever you needed to like store pictures, videos, store text-based data, which was longer, or like when you wanted to like have processing, server-side processing, etc., it just wouldn't do it. And that's where I saw, we really need a cloud which is decentralized, which can work in the same way that blockchains work. And the Aleph Cloud network basically runs like a blockchain, even if it's not one. Like every message is like hashed, signed with a wallet. There are writes on chain that happen behind the scenes, etc., etc. So like we are using most of the blockchain technologies beside the fact that we don't have blocks on the network.
That's fascinating. So help me understand then, in terms of censorship resistance, how does Aleph protect data from being altered, removed, or surveilled by centralized authorities if you're using other people's hardware? So
there is a multiple parts there. There is the censorship resistance part, which is the first one. If you use the holder tier, which means that we just hold Aleph tokens to like get service, as long as one node accepts to like serve you, you will have your data served somewhere. Some nodes might like remove your data if it's problematic because there is illegal data posted as well. Then nodes can like subscribe to like block list and say, I don't want to like host that because it's illegal. But as long as there are nodes that accept it using IPFS, you will always find your data. But this doesn't stop the whole surveillance part. Okay. Then you might want to like use what we call the pay-as-you-go, where you can choose a specific node that will host your data, that will run your computing, and then you will entrust a specific node somewhere to like do your processing. If you want to like have a replication, you can request multiple nodes at the same time to like run your virtual machines. That's nice, but if you are really paranoid or you want to like host private keys, personal data, etc., you don't want to like rely on that kind of, I might know that guy, because it's just like running on AWS, for example, plus Google Cloud, plus, okay? Then we introduced what we call the confidential computing, which is based on TEE, Trusted Execution Environment, which is a term that you might have heard already, which means that when you run a virtual machine, the whole RAM is encrypted, the whole memory is encrypted, and the whole link between your CPU, your RAM, and your storage is totally encrypted.
Wow.
And the owner of the node can't see what is happening inside your virtual machine, no matter what.
Is that optional? Because there's got to be some compute overhead for that, right?
Yeah. There is a bit of a compute overhead, but it's not huge. For example, Liberty AI, which is the AI layer on top of Aleph Cloud, uses it for inference. AI inference is when you go on ChatGPT and, like, for example, ask a question. This is called the AI inference in opposition to like AI training. And the whole inference on Liberty AI is mostly running inside confidential virtual machines, and so it means that it's fast enough to run AI workloads in real time. So like the overhead isn't that high. We're at a 20-25% overhead overall.
Jonathan, let me ask you, and Todd, please allow me to jump in here, because I have a really practical question. You know, we're about to roll out our own Enoch AI engine, which is really just modifications and layers on top of open source LLMs. Yeah. So could an open source LLM run on your platform to where I could, like, my Python code could query it using an API key?
Yeah, clearly, yeah.
It can?
Yep, of course.
Wow, we should talk. We should do that. Like, we should run it on your system instead of running it where we're running it.
Let's do it. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, that's really incredible. And one of my questions was then sort of what kinds of compute loads are suitable for the structure that you have at Aleph Cloud?
Currently, whatever can run on CPU works really well. GPU workloads, we just introduced them on the network, so like we don't have a lot of GPUs yet, but we are working on it. And then, whatever can run on CPU. And the good part is that we have a lot of very powerful nodes, which have CPUs, which have a huge RAM bandwidth, down like 600 gigabytes per second of RAM bandwidth on CPU, which means that inference works really well on CPU as well.
What? Really?
Yeah. Of course.
I'm shocked that it would be that fast. But yeah, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No worries. And the good part is that those CPU that are really fast for like inference are those that we use for the confidential computing, which are the latest AMD CPUs. And so whatever can run on CPU or like inference or like whatever can run on Llama CPP for like LLMs, you can run it on the network. Then if you need GPUs, just take a VM with GPU and run your code inside. It will just be a regular Linux virtual machine. You'll have access to like CUDA and stuff.
Wait a minute. So are you saying that, like, if I'm a customer of your service, I can spin up like a Windows environment VM on your system?
You could, because our VM support QEMU, so you could use your own image with Windows. That's not something that we support right now. The base image that we provide are Linux images.
Okay.
But I guess you could with Windows. I don't see why not, but it would be weird.
Well, suppose like I have Python code that is doing a bunch of API calls and it's processing files for my data pipeline. And this is a real thing. And I'm asking you as a real question. And I need to, like, right now I've got something like 40 workstations working on that data pipeline, but it's just Python code with access to storage. Like, how would I run Python code on your system that is Python normally under Windows, like a 3.10 interpreter, something like that?
Well, if you can get it to run on Linux, which you should if it's Python code and you don't use Windows specific stuff, you could. There is multiple ways. Like, you could either spin up instances where you will have virtual machines instances that you will be able to like access directly using SSH, or you could use serverless functions. And the serverless function, when you call them, they run wherever they want on the network. And those serverless functions can be written in Python without any issue. And well, if it's instances, whatever runs on Linux can run on those instances.
Wow. Well, Todd, I'm totally impressed. I mean, this is really fascinating tech, and it's not run by Amazon. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, I'm interested in what are the key use cases where Aleph has already replaced some centralized systems successfully. Can you share some compelling success stories, Jonathan?
Well, Liberty AI, as I said, which is a decentralized AI layer on top. Aleph has replaced centralized inference there, and you can even have OpenAI compatible APIs directly there. And there is a few customers that are already using it in production. You are even working with more on the insurance field, because for insurance, having confidential inference is really crucial when you use customer data. Then we are working as well with Ubisoft on a few use cases. On their latest games, which is Ninja Warriors Eden Online, they use Aleph for the storage of like all the metadata of their NFTs. So like instead of using their own servers, they are using Aleph. We've like as well, how would I say that? For the metadata, it points to like a serverless computing part, which is written in Python. And whenever you access the metadata URL, the metadata is generated on the fly in a very fiable way. So like it's still decentralized, but dynamic for the NFTs, responding to like in-game events and stuff like that. We have a few other companies which are replacing their like all their AWS workloads with Aleph workloads. We have even had a few piracy websites that started hosting stuff. Some nodes didn't like them and booted them out, which they should, because if not, they can have issues like on the legal side, because your IP is serving stuff. But they found other nodes that were accepting that because they were running under less problematic jurisdictions. So yeah, a lot of use cases are like enabled with that. Insurance, health, gaming, Web3 application. For example, there was a DDoS on one DeFi application lately, on one DeFi exchange, and they used Aleph as the hosting, and then they didn't have any issues with the DDoS anymore because it was pointing on a decentralized network that could handle the load.
Wow.
And so since then, we have been working with them to like move their whole infra on Aleph as well.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Well, I want to just ask one question, because right now, Mike, you know our viewers, I know our viewers. So right now, this is going right over their heads, right?
Yeah, except for the developers that are listening. Right.
Yeah,
Right.
No, right. But I want to make it interesting for all of our viewers. So how does this impact just a normal person who uses their computers? Why should they care about all of this? So it doesn't mean that they're going to go out and start using Aleph, but I think it's really important to know why we should all care that this succeeds.
Good point.
Well, there is a few parts. Okay, let's take an example on AI, for example. On the AI side, when you are using OpenAI, ChatGPT, Claude, or like any others, they learn based on your interaction. They will know everything about your life. Soon we will have Google glasses. So we like already have Meta glasses that you can ask questions to. If your glasses are recording everything to like being able to like recall stuff, etc. If all of these is linked to like a centralized cloud and centralized AI, Well, those centralized giants will know everything about your life, even worse than it's today. And today, AWS is the leading cloud provider, and they know everything about everyone because they host everything as well. And that's
Right.
really problematic. On the Web3 side, if your Web3 DApp is running on a centralized cloud, then your Web3 DApp is not a decentralized application. It's a regular application that is really centralized. And like they can be stopped anytime with a DDoS. They can stop anytime by a government, by like any kind of agency of any countries. Then they are not censorship resistant. And that's really problematic today in the Web3 world. So like if you're in Web3, you should care about that, because if not, all the DApps that you are really using are not decentralized, and anyone can know what you are doing. Any government agency can like come inside their data center and look. And if they are hosted on AWS, no one will ever know, and it might have already happened. So yeah, you should care in the end.
You hit upon something really critical there, and we've seen the EU announcing that they're going to outlaw privacy crypto by what year was it, 2027 or something? Todd,
Yeah.
you recall? And if you think about when governments go rogue and do crazy things, like the Canadian government seizing the bank accounts of people who donated to a peaceful protest, for example. When governments do crazy things, we need to make it difficult for them to take away our civil rights, and the right to compute is like free speech. It's like the First Amendment. We should have the freedom to compute, because math should not be banned by governments, although that's happened before in the history of atomic energy development and so on. But I don't want them to ban math. So if you think about it, if you're running a load on the Aleph Cloud, and let's say your government, wherever you happen to live, your government decides that the math you're doing is bad math now, then they can't find your servers. And your servers may not even be in the country. They're probably all over the place, and they can't find them. They can't shut them down. So it's resilience.
Yeah, exactly. But then they can start attacking servers that are in your countries, but then your workload can like move inside and over, and that's where it's pretty nice.
And then eventually it ends up in North Korea. No, I'm kidding. No.
Hey, Jonathan, I have a question regarding the decentralization of your nodes. How many nodes do you have, and across how many countries, approximately?
If I recall correctly, I don't have all the figures on my computer right now, but if I recall correctly, I think that we have 100 core channel nodes, which are the controllers of the network, and around 800 computing resource nodes, which are those that are actually providing the work for the computing side.
Wow.
Okay. And so when you talked about the nodes that you do have, that to me, it seems like there's still a little bit of centralized control based upon the legality of what people are using the nodes for. Where do they draw the line? Is the legality because they know these people are spreading child porn, or is it because they're, a privacy crypto who's wanting to crunch?
Basically, the only cases where so far stuff had to be like deleted and virtual machine stopped on the network, where piracy cases with node operator receiving DMCA requests, and then whenever they receive it, they will just shut down the VMs that are impacted.
Like pirating movies or something like that?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So who cares? I mean, Hollywood's obsolete anyway with AI, but that's another topic. Okay. So, but when it's an encrypted compute environment, if you're a provider of a computer, you don't know, you don't need to know, you don't want to know. I mean, somebody's just using your CPU to do math. Yeah. Right. Then
no one cares. When they care is when people connect to like your IP range, because we mostly use IPv6 because we're adding IPv4 support to like access the virtual machines. But what we currently mostly use is IPv6. Why? Because when you have your computers at home, or in your data center, a lot of people don't have IPv4 ranges. They will only have one IPv4 for the whole office, for example.
Right.
But IPv6, your provider assigns you a range of IPv6, and then your computing resource node can like attribute millions of sub IPv6 addresses, so like your users can like directly access their servers inside your CRNs using IPv6.
Yeah, I wouldn't want a stranger using my IP addresses.
So
right, that's
thing.
A risk.
Yeah, it is.
So like that's why whenever you get a request, like for example a DMCA request, then you have a duty of like removing stuff, and like if you do it fast and you act as a responsible provider, there is no issue there, and people understand you are a provider. We told you, you removed. That's good.
But what about, I mean, Todd mentioned earlier, what about somebody doing like child porn type of activities on it? Like that's a legal risk. You know, you don't want somebody hijacking your computer to do something like crazy, illegal and immoral like that. How do we stop that?
That's a good question. Whenever there are reports, then if we get those reports, we like reach out to like the community. If they get it directly, they could reach out to us, and then we can warn over users. Warning: this address is doing weird stuff. We are tracking them. Don't host them. If you are in a problematic jurisdiction, they are doing this and that. You don't want them, or if you do, that's your thing. But basically, we are also working on block lists as well, so that all the people that want to like subscribe to like block lists on certain subjects can't subscribe to them, and then block that content. But a node provider is not obligated to like follow a block list, for example.
Got it. Okay. So there are ways to block, but some of that could be retroactive if there were a bad faith actor that joined the network and started doing.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Your nodes don't have to like store data that you don't want.
Okay.
I have a question, and this is again for kind of us normies. In what ways can decentralized cloud infrastructure, Jonathan, improve both privacy and resilience for users compared to traditional cloud services? It's kind of a 101 question, but I know you can answer that.
Well, it depends what kind of users. Like if it's end users, they won't be developing their own systems. So like they will need to like rely on developers, providers, etc. But if those providers and developers use a decentralized cloud like ours, and they use confidential computing, and they do it in a good way, no one can access their data. Their data is totally safe. And the good part about it is that they can even prove that the data is safe, and that the code that has been running and doing stuff is really that code, and not another piece of code. And so that's really cool, and it adds a lot of security for like KYC data storage, as we might have seen lately. But again, it all depends on the way it's developed. Like if you develop it in a way where you can still see it, then it's bad. Like I think that it's really a full spectrum. There is the hardware part and like the infrastructure part that needs to be there. And if it's there, you can have great privacy and like great and great resilience. But if the way it's developed isn't good, it won't be good. But it adds all the tools developers need to like do it.
Let's talk about the developers. Can you walk us through a practical example of how a developer or a small business could migrate from centralized infrastructure to one of your platforms?
Yeah, of course. So like, let's say they are using a regular centralized database with a regular backend and their front end. They could move their front end on IPFS on our network, and then their domain can like point to it. And then if people have an IPFS browser, they will directly access this data without going through our nodes. Then for the backend, they will set up multiple virtual machines. They will host their database in what we call a cluster. Instead of having one host for the database, they will set up multiple, and they will replicate their database on multiple nodes. So like if one node goes down, it's not bad for them. Their backend as well, they will replicate it on multiple nodes. And then their front end calls their backend and it works. It's not that much work because it's directly Linux virtual machine, and most of the development that they do is already on Linux. So like they shouldn't care too much, to be honest.
Okay, so many users, they worry about the complexity of decentralized tech. So what steps does Aleph, what have you taken to make adoption easier for developers and enterprises, Jonathan?
Regular Linux virtual machines. We like also have now a new interface that users can use, which is app.aleph.cloud, where they can just come and start a virtual machine just like they would do on AWS, Scaleway, DigitalOcean, whatever. We try to make it as simple as that. We are even working on more ways to make it simple with a credit system where people can even pay using credit cards, stable coins, etc., and not necessarily our token, which is the Aleph token. Currently, everything is in Aleph token, but we are reworking that currently. So that's what we are doing, trying to like make them use it just like they are using their current tools. We don't want them to like relearn everything. Just use your current tools, but make it resilient on more hosts. And anyway, Aleph is currently like 4 times cheaper than AWS. Wow. So like you could have 4 nodes where you just had 1. So that's what we do.
Okay,
that's a deal. Wow.
I have a couple of questions to add to this. So, and this is also a really practical question for an end user. So suppose there's a user out there that wants to buy a new home computer, let's say a gaming rig, right? They want to buy a gaming rig, but it's way too expensive. So they need a way to make the gaming rig pay for itself when they're not gaming, let's say, right? Are there any gamers that don't game 24/7? I'm not sure. But for the ones that don't game 24/7, can they turn their gaming rig over with the GPU and the CPUs to your system for like 12 hours a day and then take it back when they want to use it? And then they can earn money.
That's something that we are working on. It's not the case yet for a simple reason. When you request a virtual machine, when you request a workload, etc., you want it to run in a very stable way. Sure. You don't want your VM to like stop 10 hours per day. So we're working on it. We're not there yet because it means that we need resilience, moving data continuously. So we are working on it. It's not there yet, but that's in our roadmap.
Well, I'm glad you're working on that because, I mean, and you do understand my question, obviously, but it sure would be great that if I'm a compute buyer of compute, like I describe what I want and I have a load, I have a demand, but your system figures out where the hardware is that's needed, and that's dynamic. So, I mean, what happens when somebody's power goes out, you know, right? Or their internet has a problem. This happens all the time. So that dynamic rerouting is going to be really key, I think.
Yeah, and we are working on it.
Wow. It gets complicated, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Wow. Man, Todd, you see what I see, like how complex this project is?
It's crazy. It's crazy. And well, all of this is, and that's why, I have one summary final question that, I've kind of gone through my questions, but looking ahead, Jonathan, what's your vision for a fully decentralized tech stack from AI to cloud to identity, and how close are we to achieving it?
Well, we're not close. Like on the infrastructure side with Aleph, we are close. Now with Liberty AI, on the AI side, we start getting closer as well. But what we are not close yet is like for identity, for example. Identity is really, really tricky to get well. ZK proof are like all the rage lately. There are even big companies, big Web2 companies working with ZK proofs and stuff like that, as you might have seen in the news. But we are not there yet. And as long as we need to do KYC for everything, as long as we need to prove ownership of each address that we have, then we are not ready yet. And also the current ways addresses are done, where you can track everything that has been done on that address. I won't want to like use that for my everyday life. I don't want to pay something in the street and have the person I paid to see my whole transaction history. That won't work.
Right.
And governments are fighting to like keep it that way, but that won't work in the long term. I don't know which tech will save the day there, but there will need to be some fixes there.
Amen.
Well,
Godspeed, whatever that tech is.
But I think this is along the lines of the trends that we've seen, like Uber being the gig economy for, you can use your own car to provide taxi services, or actually Amazon.com delivery people do the same thing with their own vehicle, delivering Amazon packages. And occasionally they even arrive. And, but this is the gig economy for compute, where anybody can participate, and decentralization provides resiliency and more privacy just by nature. So I think this is I think society is moving in this direction, especially, think about it, Jonathan. I know you're aware of this, but as bandwidth gets faster, then all your problems get easier to solve. Like if you had unlimited bandwidth across the internet, then, wow, it could be one giant connected CPU cloud in effect.
Yeah, I agree. And that's what we are seeing currently with like our replication system and like automatic routing, as we are discussing. If you have a really fast internet everywhere, you don't care anymore, and you can just move your disk instantly from one point to like the other. If not, you need to be aware of how it works, and like make smaller snapshots, move snapshots continuously. That's what we are doing. But in the end, if we have a really fast bandwidth, we won't even need all these tricks. Wow.
So it's become like the whole internet is becoming a giant AI brain.
Right.
Did you know you're building Skynet? Is that?
Honestly, we are even working basically on Liberty AI, which is the AI project on top. We're also working on AI agent that can pay for their own computing on the network, run inside confidential VMs, and then even branch out and like have their wallets on chain. You could even have like, let's say, shares of your agent, etc. And then the agent moves away from like human control totally. And that's what we're working on as well.
Whoa.
Wow.
Hey, one last question for me. What barriers currently prevent mass adoption of decentralized alternatives?
Friction, like users don't like to move. Once they are on AWS, they stay on AWS. Once they are on Google Cloud, they stay on Google Cloud. Why? Because they get free credits at start as a startup, and then they just stay. We have a startup program, and we even take shares on multiple startup programs, just like the Aurora Labs that just launched, where we give away free cloud credits to them so that they can stay on a decentralized cloud afterwards. And yeah, so like there is friction, and also fiat payments. Like they don't want to like handle utility tokens. Some don't even want to like handle stable coins. They don't care.
Right.
And big computing providers, they don't even want to get paid in crypto. Some of them, they just want a bank wire once a month, and they don't care. So payment rates is really critical. We are also obviously working on that. It's a bit longer term, but that's in our roadmap because we will need that. Like some kind of gateways for regular Web2 companies and regular data center providers to like just join the network, and it will also need to be decentralized with multiple companies, multi-tenant stuff, etc. So
wow,
that's
hey Mike, you know what I'm hearing through all of this?
What?
Decentralization is messy by design, right? Think about it, but we should all celebrate that messiness, because it's that ultimately is going to get us to where we want to be, which is, disassociated from the centralized control systems. Am I wrong?
Well, yeah, and I was just thinking, why companies stay with AWS, because the configuration is a hassle to set up the APIs, the IP addresses, the credentials, the logins. Once you get your code working, like you really don't want to change it. It's just a hassle to change code. Even if the next solution is better, like people will overpay on AWS. They'll pay double to not have to migrate. You know? So there has to be, I mean, AWS has had outages. Like they've lost entire data centers. Like I think their East data center went down last year or something. That exposes the risk of centralized systems. So the entire data center is gone. That will never happen with Aleph Cloud. You might lose a node here or a node there or a couple nodes if like the whole country of Spain loses power like it did 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But you're not going to lose a third of your whole network because it can't happen that way. It's decentralized.
Yeah, I agree. Sometimes when what we had, which could be the most similar to it, is like our scoring system, because we didn't even touch that. But how do you know if a node is really working and should be paid, etc.? We have a whole complex scoring system which takes care of that. And some of that scoring system went down at a point. So like some nodes had a lower score, but it went back up really fast when like all the overscoring nodes compensated for it. So yeah, even in cases of big power outages, it just works and it continues working.
Well, and I'd like to ask you too about, in the past few years, a lot of people would buy GPUs to do crypto mining. So they would burn power, to get crypto rewards. If they were to join your system, would they earn a lot more typically than crypto rewards, which can be pretty modest actually?
It will depend on the demand on the network, because currently for GPUs you get paid if your GPUs are rented. Since there is currently way more demand than like offer on the network, they will earn way more. Perhaps in the future, if there is thousands, perhaps it won't be the case anymore. But currently, yes, they will earn way more.
Well, NVIDIA they just announced a new piece of hardware called Spark, which is a small desktop system that has like some insane number of teraflops of computing power. I did the math. That one box as a GPU replaces 35 workstations with 80 cards. So if I wanted to be on your network, I would buy that box. It's $4,000. Put it on your network. It's got the resources of 35 GPU systems.
Yeah. The main thing is that will we be able to see it as one GPU or multiple GPUs? And I think that NVIDIA has a system to like split GPUs to make it rentable separately, but it's only an H100, and I don't think that they will activate that on that box, unfortunately. But then you can just have one person who will just rent your box, and then you are good because he will pay enough for your box.
Right. Well, and that's a Blackwell class chip for that new system. But I do know that NVIDIA has GPU virtualization where you can split the CUDA cores out.
Yeah.
But you may be right. Maybe they don't offer that on the Blackwell systems. I don't know. But just theoretically, yeah. It's a very interesting thing to do, is to buy one box, split it out to 20 different people who have smaller loads, and that box just plugs into a regular household outlet. That's not burning data center level of electricity. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's really crazy.
Because like I can't buy hardware and rent it out to Amazon. Right?
Well, you would just can't. Where on a decentralized network you can, and like you could even build a data center and make it available on the network.
That's what's so cool. So I can sell my compute without having to run a data center.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, cool.
Mike, have you ever done the math, or I guess it's impossible to do the math without knowing the metrics, but that $4,000, it would be interesting to determine, okay, if I invested $4,000 in that, and I just plugged it in and I figured all of this out with Aleph, I wonder how long it would take to pay that $4,000 off.
Well, there would be a curve, because at first, if you're a first mover, the first guy to get the box, then you're going to have a strong advantage. But then as other people get boxes, then they're going to flood the supply with cheap compute, and then it's all going to level out. So it's only if you can get the boxes before other people, really.
I want the one with the bored out carburetor and the dual quad combustion system, Mike. Please.
Yeah. I mean, look, the availability of compute is radically, it's being transformed by orders of magnitude. And so what that means for your system, Aleph, is that there will be an abundance of resources available for anybody that has a scalable compute project that needs access to it without going through the centralized systems. I mean, I can think of like scientific research, protein folding research, for example. You might need to run 1,000 computers for 3 months, but you don't want to buy 1,000 computers. You just rent them.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So very cool concept. Well, what else you want to add, Jonathan? What have we not asked you about that's relevant here?
I think that we touched most of the subjects, to be honest. On the AI side, the censorship, resistance, and confidential computing on the AI side is really critical as well. As I said before, that's something that people don't understand enough, I think, today. And I really think that decentralized compute like Aleph Cloud plus Liberty AI can really help on that end. That's something that is really critical in the future. And I think that in the future, our network won't be only on the cloud side. We might even sell other stuff on the network, because DeepIn works really well with computing, but perhaps tomorrow it will also be other kind of resources. As you mentioned Skynet, for example, let's say tomorrow, that's totally hypothetical. That's not something that we are doing today, nor even working on yet. But let's say tomorrow you buy a humanoid robot. When you don't use it, you want to rent it to people who could control it, or like even agents who are working on a decentralized cloud and would like to like have real world presence. They could rent that humanoid robot from you.
They could rent the humanoid robot from you, but the robot's at my house. So what?
Yeah.
Like, what are they going to do with the robot at my house? You know?
They will need to like make it move somewhere to do whatever they need.
Oh, you mean like the robot would jump into its robo car and start making deliveries or something as a delivery gig?
Why not? Why not? Or like, for example, let's say an agent needs to like do something in one place. It will try to like find a robot nearby and take control of it, pay the person, and then go there.
I do need a weed pulling robot. I've talked about that. It's the ultimate food forest concept. I could grow a lot more food if I didn't have to pull weeds. So my number one robot use case is a weed pulling robot.
That could work.
Yeah. Or it could just have laser eyes, like a Bitcoin maxi, laser eyes that burn the weeds. I'm fine with that as long as it has an identification. I don't want to come back with my zucchini plants with holes burned in the leaves because it misidentified my plants,
A Bitcoin maxi.
Bitcoin maxi robot, psst, just burning weeds, man. Why not? Okay. We like to have fun here too, Jonathan, because technology is fun and, life is funny. So, all right. Bottom line is the website is aleph.cloud. That's ALEPH.cloud. And you can sign up there to either be a provider of hardware or a consumer of compute resources, either one.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, that's good. Thanks for joining us. Great concept.
Thank you as well.
All right. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Jonathan.
Great meeting you, Jonathan. And Ashton Addison, thank you for the connection because this was a great interview.
Yes, Ashton. That's right. That's it. Thank you. So, okay. Well, we will wish you well. And Todd and I are going to take a quick break, and we'll be back after this break with an after-party discussion. So stay tuned, everybody. Join the official discussion channel for this show on Telegram at t.me/decentralized TV, where you can ask questions or offer suggestions of who we should interview next. Also be sure to subscribe to the email newsletter on decentralized.tv, where you'll be alerted about 1 day in advance of each new upcoming episode before it gets published. On decentralized.tv, you'll also find links to our video channels and social media channels across all platforms, including Brighteon, Rumble, BitChute, Twitter, Truth Social, and more. Check it all out at decentralized.tv. All right, welcome back, folks. This is the After Party, and Todd, really a great guest and a great concept, but definitely a little technical for a lot of people. But I like the question that you asked, which was why this structure is important for human freedom, even if you're not a computer geek.
It's critically important, and it's this centralized tech is taking over the world. I mean, everybody believes that AI is just such this tremendous resource, and it is. But when it's under centralized control, like ChatGPT 4.0 or whatever the version is now, and my gosh, Mike, my daughter just graduated from college, and I was taking her and some friends to dinner, and it was amazing how they were talking about they don't even need, they don't need friends anymore because they have their chat, Joshua Hale, who we've had as a guest, in our docuseries, Mike, he actually has some free PDFs for those who actually get the series, some bonus material. And the one thing that was in there was, how do you use AI without it using you? And it was really, really interesting. And the first thing that he suggests is, if you're going to do the voice AI, instead of like my daughter and her friends that find the best sounding, Australian accent guy, right, with all of that built-in empathy. No, Joshua says, you make it the most irritating voice ever, right? because we all could fall in the trap of just really, really liking this technology and it faking our brains that it's real. And that's very, very scary. And so we should always ask, why should centralized control? And it's because it's a centralized system. Why should it concern us? And so when there's people on the forefront, like blazing the trails, I think we should pay attention, Mike.
I agree. I think there should be a federal law that all AI has to sound like Mark Levin, so it's not very persuasive. You know, sounds like a petulant child complaining about everything. That's a really good point. But I'm with you on this. We always have to be careful about our relationship with technology. And what our guest was talking about here today is I think it's a really critical, redundant platform for compute, because governments are going to, especially the European governments, you know how they're all engaged in extreme censorship now, thought police galore, and you can go to jail for 10 months for calling an obese health minister fat. I mean, I'm not making this up. Like this is what happens in Europe now. And they're throwing people in jail for their speech, and they're banning privacy coins, et cetera. Of course, they're going to try to crack down on AI and all the compute infrastructure in order to control it and centralize power in their own hands. And that's why it's critical for our audience to tune in to the course that you and I have produced, Todd. It's called Breaking the Chains. It's available right now. In fact, as you're watching this, let me bring it up. As you're watching this, you can go register right here. It's called Breaking the Chains, and you can watch our entire docuseries free of charge. And there's an episode each day. They're bombshell episodes, expert guests on everything, how to decentralize your food, your medicine, your finances, your legal needs, everything that you can imagine. And bonus materials if you purchase the course, which is optional, but you can also watch the entire thing for free. So that's actually running right now, Todd, because I'm going to publish this interview on, I think, the second or third day of this event.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And I really do encourage people, not only does it support us, but I encourage you to actually buy the series, because the bonus material is worth more than the price of admission. I mean, my goodness, Mike, just that bonus interview of you, the 3-hour power interview with you.
That was fun.
Yeah, to where I basically set the premise, okay, the what hit the fan. You have a family of 4 and a couple of pets, and you're not going to have electricity for 4 weeks at minimum. What's the practical advice from the health ranger himself, from Mike Adams himself, with your 25 plus years of experience? And my gosh, Mike, I did not anticipate your answers that you provided at all. I thought you'd cover the basics and all of that stuff, and we did, but my gosh, the gold with that interview that people, it literally can be life-changing for everybody.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But you and I put so much into the bonus material because we wanted to be that amazing value add for people, to where when they acquired it and then they were able to watch everything in their own time for as many times as they want for forever, we wanted them to say, wow, that was worth it. So I just wanted to talk about that. The free is great. But I did want to level set expectations. That doesn't include the bonus materials aren't running for free unless you've surprised me, Mike.
Well, no, look, you and I go out of our way to make knowledge free of charge, freely available to everybody as much as we can. And then there's a higher tier that is purchasable that has additional bonus materials that, of course, it's totally optional. But if you purchase it, it helps support our platform. And we don't get government grant money. I mean, Are you getting checks from USAID? I'm not getting checks. I wouldn't want checks from the government. But we are supported by you, our viewers. We're supported by you. And we reinvest in equipment. We reinvest in platforms in order to bring you information. Like Guys, to my studio guys, can you show the side shot that has the microscope shot here? Can you bring that up, please? I just want to show people, like, we just invested over $100,000 in this digital microscope here.
Wow.
And this is a 2500X. This is the dried sample from Dr. Jane Ruby. So these are chemtrails, fallout samples here. And, you know, of course, we can zoom in and we can have a closer look, whatever. So we're using, if you choose to support us, we're taking your support to invest in science equipment, new studios, things that can help you get more information that we freely give out. And that cycle is beautiful. So thank you for your support. If you're watching, thank you for your support. And register at brightu.com to help support us.
Yeah, it's fantastic, and I want to personally thank Mike, those who have supported my575e.com. There are now, believe it or not, Mike, since I started talking about the unincorporated nonprofit associations, over 200 people who have acquired their UNAs and are part of our private Telegram group. I mean, think about that. That is such an amazing community of really, really smart people. I always joke, there's not an NPC in the bunch.
Here it is. Here's your site.
Yes, my575e.com. And you know, I really invite people to go there. I have an hour and a half interview of the subject matter expert. His name is Dennis Gray. And a downloadable 11-page PDF with the 32 positive attributes of operating UNA. And I provide all of that for free for you to be able to at least become acquainted with this relatively undiscovered entity, lawful entity that is really changing people's lives. And I want to let people know that if you support our docu-series, part of my value prop is, if you want to do a consultation with me, it's $150 through the website. But if you support the series, then there is a link to where you save $125 on that. And it's just, I'm wanting to be able to make it easy and make it an easy decision. You support us, we support you.
See, that's perfect. And the theme that all this has in common, including with our guest today, is, of course, all decentralization. And what I love about what you help advocate, these unincorporated nonprofit associations, the UNAs, through your website, my575e.com. If I did not have a church,
right,
I would be doing what you're talking about. The fact that I have the church allows me the vehicle through which I can do a lot of community-based donations, because the church is well recognized as that vehicle. But not everybody wants to have sermons and build a church and have a physical location for a church. Right. And I mean, that's not an easy thing for everybody to do. What you offer doesn't require any of those efforts. And yet go ahead.
Yeah, and it allows you to be able to have 1 foot in the public and 1 foot in the private. And it's very, very powerful. And all I do, I joke, Mike, when I get on these consultations, I tell people directly, I don't sell these things. I just present the information. There isn't enough margin in these things for it to be a primary source of income by a long shot. This is my form of activism. And there's a couple hundred people who have voted, and there's not one disenfranchised person in the bunch. And what's really, really cool is, now there are so many people who have so much experience with these. We're learning together in there. I don't even have to answer questions anymore, Mike. People come in there, the newbies, and everybody is there to be able to help. It's that 1 + 1 = 11 math that I'm really fond of.
So what's cool about this discussion and our guest today is it's kind of the same thing. So if you have a large compute project, or you want to run a website, you want to run a database, you want to run a language model, but you want to do so with privacy in a decentralized way where you're not going to be surveilled by a big tech platform, then this Aleph Cloud or Aleph, what's the easy way to pronounce it?
Aleph.
Aleph?
A-L-E-P-H, Aleph.
Aleph, okay. It's a little bit of an odd word. Okay, Aleph.cloud. So if you use Aleph, then there's no surveillance system on you, and you can compute privately, which may be very important. Maybe you're doing a project that's going to figure out how to end, like, the big pharma's legal protection or something. Like maybe you're doing something politically sensitive. Maybe you're a whistleblower who has some super secret something inside the DOD and you're going to release it and you think they might kill you or something. I mean, there are a million reasons to protect your privacy. And many of them most of them are moral, ethical reasons to do so. Just because you want privacy doesn't mean you're a bad person or that you're doing anything bad. You may need privacy for protection because you're working on something so important that it maybe threatens the status quo.
That's right. Or it could just be a right, just like it is my right to close the bathroom door in a public airport. I mean, it's kind of a joke, but not really. I mean, what do you have to hide, right? Why do they even have doors? It doesn't mean you're a nefarious person doing something illegal. No, privacy is a God-given right, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why we brought on our guest today, because we want to help these entrepreneurs advocate for their projects that we believe contribute to a more decentralized and more free world. That's why we had our guest today. And Todd, you and I both know this is going over the heads from a technical perspective of a lot of our guests, and that's okay. But even if you're not a programmer, you need to know that this kind of thing is happening. These are game-changing advances in decentralization of compute. And if you think about, like, AI agents are going to become very commonplace. AI agents, right?
Oh,
They're going to replace a lot of desk jobs. Well, do you want to use the ChatGPT AI agent that's programmed in part by the CIA? No. What if on Aleph there's someday soon, maybe our own language model has an agent version. Maybe there's an Enoch agent, but you have to access it through this decentralized cloud, but it doesn't have censorship in it. See?
Man,
so
I love
that would be so much better than using a OpenAI agent or a Microsoft agent or a Meta agent, which will always be biased.
And what I hope everybody understands is that when we have these open discussions with technical people like Jonathan, who is just has a superpower for a brain. Now you just witnessed Mike is having a conversation with Jonathan, and I guarantee you will continue it. And there could be a future of Enoch on his platform and you benefiting. This is just the connections that we are creating here just through word of mouth, because you have Ashton Addison, who the Crypto Coin Show, who tells us that Jonathan would be a great guest. We are networking on your behalf, and we want to present it to you so that you can be a fly on the wall, a voyeur of sorts, in a positive way, to where you're listening to conversations that are going to happen anyway. But I hope, yeah, sure, it went over my head too. But man, oh man, we have a friend there. We have somebody that we can advocate for. I'm rooting for Jonathan. He is absolutely doing God's work, in my opinion, Mike.
Yeah, absolutely. We're talking about the restructuring of society and information. The information wants to be free. And with the rise of very, very efficient, very affordable supercomputers like the NVIDIA system I mentioned, that would have been unthinkable 3 years ago. And it's going to be within reach this year. This will change everything about the way we interact with digital systems. And it will mean, let me put it this way. I mentioned, like, Hollywood will be obsolete. Yeah, you'll be able to just write a prompt of a movie that you want to watch. Yeah. And that prompt could actually go out to the Aleph Cloud, GPU cloud system, and then using more advanced AI language models for video creation, which are now emerging, the cloud could render a full-length feature movie for you from nothing. Write the script, write the character dialogue, render the scenes, do everything, give you back a movie that you want to watch that's totally unique, and it's created in minutes for like $1.
And it doesn't mean that you know the ending.
Right. Or,
right.
I mean, you could tell it the ending, or you could say, surprise me,
Right.
I mean, you, like with AI prompting, you can give it as much detail as you want, or you can let it, use its own patterns based off Hollywood.
Right. No, it's fascinating. I mean, it is just evolving so fast.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you could even say, give me Ghostbusters 2 that's not woke.
Right.
Give me a Ghostbusters-like movie.
Yeah.
That's not woke. Or how about give me some new Star Wars-like episodes that don't suck.
Yeah. Right. Right.
Right. So Hollywood is about to become obsolete, and that's not a bad thing. Why should we have centralized control over pop culture in the hands of a bunch of really evil, child molesting demon worshipers or whatever they are there?
I think they thought it was a good gig while they could do it, but it's going bye-bye.
Yeah, totally. But also think about like real-time translation.
Sure.
You and I, we could have a conversation, like your wife's from another country, and you don't fully speak the language that the people of that country speak. But if you went to that country, what if you could have like a distributed computing, real-time translator plugged into your mobile phone that's connected to something like Aleph, and it's doing real-time translations?
Yeah, without them spying on you.
Without them spying on you, exactly. So there's so many possibilities of this. It's really breakthrough.
And the moral of the story here is, hang in there with us, guys. If you come upon one of our shows and it's just going over your head, at least hang in there for the after party, because at least we'll have fun.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely have fun. Just with what I have here on the desk, we've got lots of potential craziness to play with. Sadly, the chemtrails fallout sample has dried out, and so all I have is the dried crystal version. But they were swimming around like an hour ago.
Boy, that's crazy.
Yeah, they just dried out and formed crystals. No, I don't know what's going on. Yeah, there we go. See that? That's what we have now, and they formed all these like weird Christmas tree shapes.
Look at that.
Yeah.
What magnification is that, Mike?
That's 1500 actually at the moment. But it also formed these weird like little black spheres here.
Right. Gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And just think that came in from the Florida fog that everyone was talking about. Like, what the hell is this? And she let it just settle on, I don't know what, something that she was able to capture it and send it to you.
Yes.
And you let it grow. And just think, if you were walking outside, all of that goes into your lungs because we still have to breathe, right? And you wouldn't think it's anything other than fog. But now you take a look at this and you're like, man, there's things swimming around in my chest that may crystallize if I ever get a dry cough.
Yeah. And look, we can do like how many microns measurements. We can do a 3D topography analysis. We can look at the thickness of everything. We can do like auto rotations and stuff. I mean, this system is too much fun. This is like the best toy ever.
So, folks, if Mike's a little slow on his publication of his broadcast, you'll just know the mad scientist is just doing what mad scientists do.
Well, that's true, but look, like we talk about gold here, right? So let me just take this gold back and put it under the microscope.
Please.
And let me show you something just freaky.
Okay.
Totally wild. Here, hold on, stand by.
Some people buy $100,000 vehicles. Mike, you buy $100,000 microscope. I love it.
Yeah, and I don't care so much about the vehicle.
I know.
Yeah, this is way more important. So,
Nope.
all right, so stand by. Let me show you this, because you and I are both into gold and silver. You know, I mean, it's one of the forms of asset protection. So check this out. These are the actual gold deposits that are on the back of the gold back. You're actually looking at them.
Wow, look at that clarity.
Yeah. Now, actually, let me zoom way out so that people will actually believe that this is a gold back.
Okay.
Because sometimes it's hard, it's hard to believe it. But these are some of the designs on the edge of it's like some of the patterning, and you can see it's a very intricate design. But this uses the Goldback company uses a process called vacuum deposition, which deposits very, very small bits of gold at a time in very specific patterns. So now if we go in and really zoom in on this pattern, it's going to change the lens, and then we'll refocus. Watch this. Here we go. Now we can actually see the individual, let me change the lights here. There we go. We can see the individual gold splotches that are literally deposited, like sprayed, like blasted at it through vacuum deposition.
So that the background is not gold, it's these splotches that are the gold?
Correct. Let me change the light. I think that it will be better in this light. Here we go. Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on.
Because the background actually looked like gold too.
Okay, so yeah, this is probably better. So you're seeing the gold splotches, and the background is black.
Okay.
So this is just part of that pattern that we were looking at, and if we move enough, we'll get to kind of a thicker gold area. I don't know if you recall that on the bill, but this is the kind of stuff that to me is really fascinating to look at this and to be able to inspect things and gain knowledge about things, whether it's through questioning like you and I are doing, or through scientific instruments, or through a visual inspection, or trying things out, whatever the case may be. We're both just curious about the world around us.
Yeah. That's fascinating. Thank you for sharing that, Mike.
Yeah. Gold is fun. All right. So bottom line, Todd, we want to encourage people, again, check out our course. It's running right now. It's called Breaking the Chains, and you can watch it for free at brightu.com. And it's well worth your time. And if you choose to purchase the bonus materials, well worth every dollar. It's not even very expensive. And aside from that, anything else you want to add, Todd?
No, I just really enjoyed today. You and I have been working on this series, and we took a little bit of hiatus of actually interviewing some guests recently, just to make sure that we were able to wrap that up. And I missed it, so I'm really grateful, Mike. Always love hanging out with you.
I missed the after party. Yeah, so we got a little after party going today. That's awesome.
Yeah. And Jonathan, when you review, you were a great guest. Thank you for joining us today.
Oh yeah, he was great. He went right along with us with our weird twisted humor or whatever. All right, so bottom line, folks, freedom is a choice. All you have to do is learn how to be free, and that is achieved through decentralization. Technology, food, medicine, thoughts, news, all of it. It's all within your control, actually. And we just teach you how to take back control so that you can choose to be more free. And if you think about it, enslavement is kind of the default. You have to choose to reject enslavement and make an active choice to be free.
That's really true, Mike.
Yeah.
That's really true.
Yeah. You're born, like in the Matrix, you're born as a slave into a prison of your mind. And most people never escape it.
And that's why, I've said a bunch of times that I have such a dim view of humanity. I think that 98% of the people out there, they choose slavery. And so if you're watching this, I guarantee you're likely a 2%er, and we're grateful that you are watching.
Yeah, absolutely. Only the free-minded people will ever make it this far in one of our episodes.
That's
for
true.
Sure. it's like a quality test. The longer we go, like the better the audience becomes. It's amazing. Like anybody can watch the first 30 seconds, but the real hardcore people,
It's true.
stick with it all the way through.
You should cut that piece out and put it at the beginning of one of these, just so that people get a taste of what they get if they hang in there.
Oh man, you ever see those? You ever go on YouTube and you see that all of the thumbnails now on YouTube are people making insane expressions to try to get clicks with like weird, like like that's the thumbnail,
Yeah.
Like it's never a normal thing. It's never just two people talking. They have to have an expression of
Right.
You're like, it just it seems so shallow like that,
It does. Yeah. And it's all, you can tell it's all AI generated these days, and that's fine. It's a great tool, but I kind of miss some of the old blocking and tackling, Mike.
All right. So just for the entertainment of our audience, at the count of 3, let's you and I give a surprise expression.
Okay.
If we were to do a thumbnail for the show, like, oh my God, decentralization revolution is here, and let's both have a surprise expression, okay?
All right.
Okay, like a Home Alone thing. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Okay, we got it. That's the thumbnail.
Beautiful.
All right, so now the views will go up now for sure.
Yeah,
okay.
That may become a thing at the end of every one. We'll see how much of a lift we get with this great thumbnail.
Okay. All right, we'll put it in. We'll make it the thumbnail, and then people will have to watch all the way through to get the joke.
I love it.
Okay. All right, thank you,
Mike.
Todd. It's great. Thanks for the time.
All right. Cheers, everyone. Bye-bye.
All right, take care. Thank all of you for watching. You can find all of our episodes at decentralized.tv. And as we mentioned, be sure to join up, register to watch our free docuseries called Breaking the Chains at brightu.com, which is playing, streaming right now, and it's worth every minute. One episode goes on loop each day, so you need to tune in, about an hour each day, give or take, in order to watch all the episodes, or you can purchase the whole thing and download the whole course and watch it whenever you want. But you can get all the other episodes of this show, Decentralize TV, at decentralized.tv. So thank you for watching. Everybody take care. All right, we've got some really exciting new products at healthrangerstore.com, and I've got some on my desk I want to share with you. We have a new creamy tomato instant soup that's all certified organic, all laboratory tested, with incredibly clean, pristine ingredients. It's amazingly delicious. And I'd like to even show you, if you go to healthrangerstore.com and you click on the organic creamy tomato instant soup, if you scroll down to the ingredients, like look at this list. Organic heavy cream powder, okay? Real cream, not just artificial substitute garbage. Organic tomato powder, cheddar cheese powder, also organic, and butter powder, a little bit of guar gum for thickener, coconut sugar, slight amount of pink Himalayan salt. Again, onion powder, garlic powder, black pepper number 60 mesh. That's just the size of the black pepper. And that's it. No artificial colors, no MSG, no yeast extract, everything's organic. Except the salt, which of course is an inorganic crystalline structure. But everything's organic that can be organic. It's incredibly delicious. It's got a very long shelf life. We have it in number 10 cans, and we have it in these pouches. It's available now at healthrangerstore.com. And we're producing more ready-to-go food formulas. So not just the macaroni and cheese that we have that's been very popular, even hard for us to keep in stock, but also, this tomato soup mix and much more coming. And that's cool. Can you show that side shot again? This is actually over here. These are pine needles under the microscope, because I was just filming a microscope segment. Can you see that? and I'm zooming around the microscope. Look, check this out. We can even zoom in on these pine needles. I've got like this remote control microscope here. I have a whole nother segment on that if you want to see our new microscope and what we're doing with that. But we're using the best technology to look at food and to be able to find contaminants, not just visually with microscopy, but also, of course, with our ISO accredited mass spec laboratory. So we do the heavy metals testing, we do the glyphosate testing, we do aflatoxin testing, we do E. coli, salmonella, yeast, and mold testing, and much more, in order to make sure that you are getting the cleanest food available anywhere on this planet. Our contaminated world is not a safe place to eat. It's like a minefield, and we help you navigate that minefield with laboratory-tested, ultra-clean, and certified organic foods and superfoods and nutritional supplements. Let me tell you about another one. We have green tea tincture here as well, and it's a non-alcohol formula, so it's certified organic. Here it is, green tea tincture, naturally high in L-theanine, which is one of the miraculous molecules of green tea. And here you can read about it here, and it's a glycerin tincture as well. And green tea, of course, has EGCG and various catechins that have all kinds of amazing benefits for health. And I blend in a little bit of green tea into my smoothie as well. So, on top of turmeric and on top of whey protein and some of the other things that I use, because I'm powered by superfoods every single day. And then on top of that, we have this ultra delicious, we've got these new mango slices here. These are chewy, certified organic, laboratory tested mango slices. It's called soft dried, and it's just right for a snack. And I'm drooling a little bit because these are better than candy. They're like, if you're craving candy bars or something, try some of these. It's the best snack that you could think of. These organic mango slices, just ready to go. You could toss them in a purse or a backpack. Excuse me, you can take them on an airplane. You can take them to work, whatever. And we've got apple slices as well, the same kind of format right here. Now, these aren't inexpensive, but they're ready to go, and you don't have to go out to a store and slice them up and figure out how to seal them up and so on. These are just ready to go. So it's convenient but healthy food. It's fast food, but incredibly healthy, organic, lab-tested, super fruits, basically, at least the mango. So check all of that out at healthrangerstore.com. Enjoy these products. They have amazing taste. They are loaded with amazing nutrients, and they're subjected to all of our protocols of laboratory testing and analysis and contaminant testing for all kinds of different things that we do. Plus, they're certified organic. You're going to get the cleanest foods and supplements at healthrangerstore.com. And thank you for supporting us here at Brighteon.com and NaturalNews.com and healthrangerstore.com. And it's because of your purchases, by the way, that we can even afford to purchase things like this amazing microscope here, that I'll be bringing you a whole slew of videos with microscopy that will just blow your mind. We're going to be looking at a lot of things. So a big public education effort here and a food safety education effort that's tied to the ability to be able to visualize at high magnification all kinds of foods and products off the shelf. So all that's coming, and thank you for your support. Again, green tea tincture, the organic tomato soup, we've got the mango slices, the apple slices, and so much more. Shop with us at healthrangerstore.com. You will love every bite. And remember, our motto is healing the world with clean foods. We want you to maximize your potential, to maximize your health and your longevity. And we believe that producing ultra clean, verified, and incredibly delicious real food with no garbage, no fillers, no artificial colors, no MSG, none of that garbage, we believe that this is the way that we can help you pursue your purpose in life and stay healthy in the process. So thank you for supporting us. I'm Mike Adams, the founder of Brighteon and the Health Ranger Store. Take care.